It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
Caught my eye the other day as I was going over the headlines. John Mort's piece in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. State legislators' bill raises threshold for ballot access. And this has drawn criticism from libertarians. Here now is the chairman of the State Libertarian Party of Arkansas, Dr. Michael Pakko. Michael, welcome back to the program, sir. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, good morning. It's good to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, sir. So let's get your reaction to this bill. Why do you think it's necessary? Or why do you think it's unnecessary, rather?
Well, I think it's unnecessary in that it puts an unnecessary constraint on the ability of third parties to get their names on the ballot, put their candidates on the ballot. And, you know, it's been billed as, well, we need to retain space on the ballot, that we don't want it to be overcrowded. But that notion is just absurd. You know, in 2018, over half of the seats in the state legislature were unopposed. So, you know, there would have been more, but libertarian candidates were in some otherwise uncontested races. But the point is that in those circumstances, nominees of the two major parties coast right into office without their names even being printed on the ballot. And so there's certainly not an issue with too much competition for public office, but quite the opposite. If we're going to make changes to the election laws, it should be to open the process, not shut it down.
So you see this as essentially trying to limit the competition and limit the people's choices when it comes to going and voting?
Well, yes, I can't see any other rationale for the idea. I mean, it does nothing but make it more difficult for third parties to get on the ballot. And the fact that it has an emergency clause in it just makes it all the more evident that the intention of the bill is to stifle competition in the 2020 election. And that's to the benefit of incumbent politicians and their entrenched political parties, and to the detriment of new political parties, of third parties, and of the voters having a choice in the election.
So the Libertarian Party of Arkansas, in order, and I know you guys fell just short. Mark West got 2.9%. I thought he would for sure get 3%, but he got 2.9%. Had he gotten the 3%, you guys would have automatically qualified for ballot access this next year. And I think maybe you think that has something to do with it, that you guys got real close to not having to, you know, what is a kind of a waste of time. I mean, it's not a waste of time, but you know, you got real close to not having to gather signatures at all.
Well, that's right. It was a heartbreaking result, coming that close, something like 890 votes short of qualifying as a political party. And that's actually one of the initiatives that we've put out there, is that we believe that the standard for maintaining status as a political party ought to be broadened, so that there's a better possibility that once on the ballot, new political parties will be retained on the ballot. Of course, our proposal's gotten little traction. Instead, we get this monstrosity, Senate Bill 163, which would make it more difficult for us to get on the ballot in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was going to ask, how much money does the Libertarian Party of Arkansas spend getting signatures? The threshold used to be 10,000, or it still is. It's 10,000 right now. So how much money did you spend getting that?
10,000 signatures, right. Over the past couple of years, past couple cycles rather, our average has been about $30,000 for all the expenses associated with it. So, I mean, it's just not a huge amount, but it's not a small change either. To raise it from 10,000 to what this bill would do would raise it effectively to about 27,000 signatures. That would make it 2.5 times more difficult and more expensive to get on the ballot. You know, there's also something I wanted to mention here, is there's a constitutional flaw in this proposal, too. And, you know, back in 2006, this scheme of 3% of votes for getting on the ballot was specifically overruled by federal courts. So that ruling is relevant here. They're basically proposing to go back to a system that has already been ruled unconstitutional by the federal courts.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have that? Do you know that case off the top of your head? The name of it?
Yeah, it's Green Party of Arkansas versus Daniels in 2006. That's Charlie Daniels in his capacity as Secretary of State at the time. In that, the court ruled, here's a quote, the 3% requirement to certify a new political party violates plaintiffs' associational rights guaranteed under the United States Constitution. So it doesn't get much more straightforward than that.
Interesting. So you think Senator Trent Garner's bill here to try to, kind of limit competition, increase the threshold, you think it's already been ruled unconstitutional?
I do. Well, it's not particularly the proposal,
but not the specific bill.
That existed over a decade ago. Yes.
Wow.
Matter of fact, that ruling was the impetus for changing the law to make it 10,000 signature requirement in the first place.
Okay. Well, that certainly is news to me. That's pretty incredible. Then I wonder. I know people are listening. Maybe there'll be an amendment to it or something like that. But I will say this. I think more choices are a good thing. I think there's a lot of Arkansans out there that are tired of the sole two-party rule. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. I tend to vote for more Republicans than I do Libertarians. That's just the way I tend to vote that way.
Sure.
But I wouldn't. I would never be opposed to allowing more choices on the ballot.
Well, that's right. And I'm an economist, so I see competition as a good thing. It strengthens the system. It keeps it sharp. So to try to eliminate competition in the political process is no better than trying to eliminate competition in the marketplace.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay. Well, so we're going to keep an eye on this bill. And again, we're talking with Dr. Michael Pakko. He is the chair of the Libertarian Party of Arkansas. Just real quick, I know this is kind of a random question, Dr. Pakko, but do you have any other? Are there any other pieces of legislation out there that interest you or that you're following at all when it comes to Arkansas politics right now?
Well, I believe there's another bill out there that I haven't tracked carefully, but it would basically change our electoral system to one like California with the top two primaries. I'm not sure what the status of that one is. This one's kind of consumed my attention recently.
Yeah.
So,
is that what's called a jungle primary? Is that what that's called?
I think some call it that. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, the problem with Arkansas is there's not too many candidates on the ballot. There's too few. So any of these electoral reforms that are intended to kind of restrict access to either the primary or general election ballot just don't make much sense.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, and I really appreciate you spending some time with us this morning. It's always great to have you on, Dr. Michael Pakko, and we'd love to do it again sometime. And when there's new developments on this bill, I'd love to have you on to talk about it.
Great. Okay, fine.
All righty. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Michael Pakko. It's always great to have him on. He's the chairman of the Libertarian Party. He's also an economist. And, we've had him on to do some review of Arkansas's economic numbers before as well, so we'll probably do that again soon also.